Hello and welcome, everyone. Before we begin, I'd love to situate this conversation. So I'm Dr. Stephen Sparling. I'm a creative, I'm a founder of the thrivingcreative.com, and I'm an academic who researches freelance artists in the creative economy. I'm based in the UK, where I teach at several universities alongside coaching and consulting with private clients. And I have an upcoming book coming out in March titled The Thriving Creative: Successful Freelancing in the Creative Economy. I'm speaking today with Krista Cloutier, the founder of The Working Artist. Krista is an internationally recognized art coach who's worked with artists in over 80 countries, helping them navigate the professional art world and build successful careers. She's launching the Working Artist Academy, a new online program designed specifically for the art market we're in right now. So, Krista, I wanted to speak with you about these current art market realities because so many artists I meet, especially those returning to their work after years away, they feel disorientated. They're talented, they're experienced, but they're unsure of how the art world actually works now. And they're increasingly anxious about technology and AI. So let's start there. From where you sit inside the art world for decades, what's changed and what are artists facing now?
Well, thanks so much for the introduction, Stephen. And in answer to your question, what I see is a gap, not of talent, but of context. A lot of artists are encountering an art world that looks familiar on the surface, but now operates very, very differently underneath. Galleries are fewer, institutions are cautious, there's a lot of noise online, a lot of advice, and most of it is disconnected from real experience. Artists feel pressure to figure out everything at once. You've got your marketing, you've got your pricing, you've got your technology, you've got visibility, and no one's explaining how decisions actually get made now. I mean, who buys what? Which doors open? Why? How? And that creates confusion that sadly often gets mistaken for failure. But the truth is the landscape has shifted and artists haven't been given a clear map.
I know you've worked with artists over many, many years. So what do you see them struggling with the most, especially those that are trying to re-enter the market?
Decision fatigue. They're capable, intelligent, and committed, but they're constantly second guessing. Should I approach this gallery? How? Is this opportunity worth it? Why didn't I hear back? Are my prices wrong? Where's my people? Is it too late for me? Without understanding how the art world functions, who decides what, why silence happens, what matters and what doesn't, every rejection feels personal. And I keep seeing artists exhaust themselves by reacting instead of choosing. And too many artists assume that the problem is them or their work, and it isn't. The problem is they're navigating without a proper map. And I want to say this plainly because it matters. Most artists come to me because they're not making enough money from their work, or sometimes any money at all. They're talented, they're working hard, and they don't understand why that work isn't translating into income. The confusion is exhausting.
I mean, you've spent years in the art market as a curator, as a dealer, and then a gallerist. So how does that perspective shape the way you mentor artists now?
That's a great question. And let me start with the truth that most people don't want to say out loud. Talent matters, but not enough on its own. We wish it were different, but it's true. The most talented artist in the world won't sell work if no one knows they exist or understands what they're looking at. I've sat on the other side of the table for much of my career. When I was an art dealer, I placed work in the Museum of Modern Art in New York, in San Francisco, the Chicago Art Institute, the Boston Museum, etc., etc. I've represented hundreds of artists and I've launched careers that are still active today.
Didn't I read that your professional files are in the Smithsonian Archives of American Art?
That's true.
That's cool.
I say this to explain that I know how this world works, how galleries think, how collectors decide, why institutions say yes, and also why they go silent. But I also know this. Artists don't just need information. They need someone to walk with them while they do the hard work of building a career. It's not easy and it's not clear, especially now. So I'm a guide. I don't do the work for anyone. I'm not representing art, but I'm here so that artists don't have to figure it out alone. And to be honest, sometimes professional blocks are about more than strategy. They're about fear. They're about worth, whether you believe that you even belong in this conversation. A lot of artists are telling me that they hate self-promotion, and honestly, I get it. Most of us didn't become artists because we want to market ourselves. But if you want the work to sell, someone has to speak for it. So I help artists understand what's happening in the market and what's happening inside themselves, because both determine whether they'll actually take action. And when they do, artists make more sales. They start connecting with the right people. So that's what my background allows me to do. Not just inspire artists, but give them insider knowledge and an emotional understanding of where they're at.
Well, having seen you do this for many years, I know that you produce real results. So before we talk about your new project, the Working Artists Academy, I'm curious, why do you feel compelled to work with artists in this way?
Well, again, I spent years working inside the art market. I was selling millions of dollars of work with an average price point of around $2,000, which means a lot of art and a lot of artists. But somewhere along the way, I realized that the money mattered more than the work itself. I was starting to see art as a commodity. I had forgotten the beauty of the creative spark, even my own. The part of my job I hated the most was being a gatekeeper. I had to say no to hundreds of artists who wanted representation, not because they weren't talented, but because art dealers have to serve their own specific audience. And artists took that rejection very personally. When I stepped away from that role and started the Working Artist, it was because I wanted to support the creative spark wherever it lived. From an artist selling drawings out of their garage on weekends to artists showing in museums. I believe that art matters, and I believe all artists deserve support.
That's great. So, okay, this brings us to what you're launching now. So explain to me in plain terms what the Academy is.
Sure, thanks for asking. The Working Artist Academy is a 12-week program for artists who want to build or rebuild a professional practice with real support. It's not something you do alone. Artists move through the program as a cohort, beginning with the live welcome salon. And then we work through what I call the 4 core flight paths. It's building your professional identity, visibility and relationships, professional systems, and then integrating it all into a working plan. But here's the thing that makes it different. We go deeper than most programs. There are expansion stages where we bring in guest experts to teach branding and websites and audience building and social media strategy. And even AI training is woven throughout, not as a separate scary thing, but as a practical tool that you'll actually learn how to use effectively. Now, I'm going to be present the entire time, along with my team of certified artist coaches, and I'll continue to meet with the Academy artists even after the 12 weeks end, because building an art career doesn't stop at graduation.
No, so your program sounds really comprehensive. So the thing is that struck me is this for tech-savvy artists or anyone?
No, that's the point. You don't need to be tech savvy. You don't need to have a perfect portfolio. You just need to be serious about doing the work. This isn't a content dump where you're left alone with videos. Every module has workbooks, reflection exercises, and support. It's a guided experience, but it's also paced for people with busy lives because, I don't know about you, but I'm personally allergic to overwhelm. I'm really, really proud of the Academy, and I'm excited to see what artists do with what we're offering.
So who does your work tend to serve best?
I would say artists who are serious, not necessarily about fame or making six figures overnight, but serious about showing up for their work. Some are coming back after raising kids or working in another field. Some are mid career and finding that they need to rethink their approach now. And then there's others who are newer and want to understand how this world actually works instead of just guessing. So you don't need an art degree. You don't need a fancy resume or a perfectly polished portfolio. You definitely don't need to be good with technology. I think what matters most is that you're willing to treat your work like it deserves professional support, because I believe it does. And if you're looking for shortcuts or hacks or some kind of magical formula, this isn't going to be a fit for you. But if you want someone to walk alongside you while you figure this out, someone who will tell you the truth, who will help you make better decisions, and who won't disappear after 12 weeks, then yeah, this might be for you.
It sounds like it has the potential to be really powerful for artists. So what changes do you see for artists who go through this program?
Well, they stop scrambling, for one. The biggest shift that I see is that artists finally know what to do next. They're not waking up overwhelmed by 100 possibilities and paralyzed by all of them. They understand how to price their work, and more importantly, they believe in their prices. So when someone asks, why does this cost $3,000? They can answer with confidence instead of apologizing. They stop applying to every open call and chasing opportunities that were never right for them in the first place. And they learn to recognize what's worth their time. And when they walk into a gallery or talk to a collector, they sound like professionals, not desperate, but confident. Most artists do make more money, often significantly more. But honestly, the biggest transformation that I see is that they stop feeling like frauds. They have a plan, they have support. They're not alone in their studio wondering if they're doing everything wrong. So that's what changes. Just everything.
If someone's watching this video and wondering if they should join, what would you want them to know?
That you're not too late, that you're not broken, and that you don't need to catch up. This is an invitation to work with support, clarity, community, and to have fun doing it. I mean, working as an artist is hard enough. So what's the point if we're not having fun? The Working Artist Academy exists because artists shouldn't have to navigate the market alone, especially not now. And for anyone that this resonates to, you're welcome to join us.
Thank you, Krista. That was really interesting to hear you talk more about your program, and I look forward to seeing the success that you have with this Artist Academy.
Thank you, Stephen, and thanks to everyone who's listening.